here's a question. What would you do for the perfect photo? Would you jump in the water at night with sharks and poisonous jellyfish?
Well, the photographer we met in Hawaii would. In fact, he does that all the time, and the results are awesome.
In the vast ocean, mysteries await. And Joshua Lambus is bravely heading out to unlock the unknown.
How far out do you want to be? I like 2 to 3 miles. Let's do it.
Once night falls, he'll dive into water 1,000 meters deep, hoping nothing big is lurking.
And of course, there are sharks. Sharks, big animals, things that you're not necessarily wanting to come across in the middle of the ocean at night where you can't really keep track of things.
Joshua is an underwater photographer. The big island of Hawaii, his home. The sea, his muse. In his gallery, he introduces people to that world.
And so you get to see all kinds of alien creatures you would usually need a submersible or an ROV or something like that to see.
He is a pioneer of Blackwater, night diving with unusual sea creatures.
You get animals that live in total darkness during the day that make these huge vertical migrations to the surface every night. And so this is actually the largest migration of any group of animals on the planet.
These pelagic animals are light sensitive, only rising up when the sun sets.
Some of them are coming up to feed because there's a more nutrient layer of water at the surface. And then some of them are actually coming up to respirate. They come up, absorb oxygen, go back down, use it during the day, come back up, absorb oxygen at night.
Many have never been seen before.
My personal favorite image is of an octopus that I photographed in 2008. It took me 3 years actually to find that guy who could tell me what it was. It is holding 2 tentacles that I was never quite sure what they were. And he explained to me that they are actually tentacles from probably a Portuguese man-of-war that it has torn off and is using against would-be predators. And I thought that was really, really incredible.
Tonight, Joshua hopes to add to that collection, if everything goes according to plan.
I think you have to be crazy to do this dive. Night diving on the reef, one thing. Coming 5 miles offshore in the middle of the night and jumping off into 10,000 feet of water, a little bit different.
With a strong current, Captain Mike releases a parachute to prevent the boat from drifting.
Piece of cake, it's all attached. Toss it overboard.
That light will be their reference point for 18 meters. They should not go below it.
There is no bottom to stop you. You have to be hyper aware of your depth. You don't really want to be necessarily the first one in because at that point, if something were to go wrong, it's a 100% chance that it's going to be you.
The first person in usually does this 360 in the water, shining their lights everywhere, seeing what's around.
That first splash, it's like a dinner bell, kind of, You think of it that way.
So I'm really hoping we can talk Alan into getting in first.
Sounds about right to me.
Just pick on the little guy.
Yeah.
All right.
A quick survey doesn't exactly quash their fears.
Yeah, it's always a little disconcerting when you hear a splash right next to the boat and you don't know what it is yet.
But even silence can be deadly with box jellyfish in these waters.
Everybody say goodbye to their wives and loved ones. Got the Blackwater theme song. Dun, dun, da, dun, dun, da, dun, da, dun.
This really is the most nerve-wracking part right here.
Yeah, it really
it's right
is.
Here.
Yeah. Moment of truth. You feel very vulnerable, very, very tiny. You're in an absolutely immense black. I feel like it's the closest thing to being in space.
As plankton zip by like shooting stars, he waits for animals to come to him.
I usually situate myself a little far forward in the current, and that way I'm able to look at things as they're drifting by, and if I do see something, I can start drifting with it. Most of them are either very, very transparent, because they're living in this realm, or they're very, very reflective to make use of whatever available light does come across out there. Once that strobe fires, you know, if you haven't gotten that shot in the first 1 or 2 shots, you're probably not going to photograph that animal. They'll swim off pretty quickly.
Then Joshua's muffled screams. Fortunately, it's a rare find, a seahorse.
Nice. How'd the dive go?
Good dive. Got really good right towards the end there.
Yeah, that was sweet.
That was a good one. Cool. Towards the end especially, it just started like hitting off.
To me, the holy grail of diving is still
The seahorse.
the seahorse for me too, man.
Cool, yeah.
That was my first one ever.
I saw that.
bro.
I was
really exciting.
I was afraid I was gonna freak you out because I'm like,
I heard you screaming.
You freaked me out because I wasn't looking at you. You screaming. I turned around real quick, and then it's a little tiny seahorse. I'm like, sweet.
After over 500 dives, Joshua still feels that rush and so much more.
I really like the fact that when I take these photographs, I can show people things that they've never seen, never even knew existed. And hopefully they realize that there is something for us to conserve, because the ocean is such a huge part of our planet.